Hi, Orange Girl here with another scrapbooking process video for you. I am working with some Flair from A Flair for Buttons. I'm also working with some Shimmerz Paints. Just a reminder, when you make an order through Shimmerz Paints, go ahead and put my name, Orange Girl, in the comments and you will receive a little mini surprise freebie with your order. So, confession here, I started this for a different layout. And then I end up not using it and setting it aside. But this is how it started. I am using Coloringz Night Moves, and I am making some splatters, little splatters by just using the nozzle, and then I'm using a brush and dipping it right in to the paint and splattering it across the page. I added a few more off camera and let that dry, and then I grabbed this photo and this cut file and then some Vibez Sunset Stripped, which is my focused color. And I'm going to go from the top left to the bottom right with this color and use mostly the packaging technique all across, and I end up adding more here and there as I complete my layout. So I don't know if you've been paying attention, but the Shimmerz design team has all been, they all picked a color, one color, each of us a different color, to kind of focus on for one of our layouts for this month. And this is mine. I chose Sunset Strip. It's kind of an orangish yellow, and it is actually one of the first colors that I purchased, I think. It's a really pretty yellow, and it matches this picture so well, the leaves in this fall picture. And so I thought, oh, it would be perfect to help the picture, the color pop off the page so you can see it by using that picture, but also help the color in the picture pop by having this in the background. So I'm adding a few layers of this paint. So I do the packaging technique, I wipe it off, I add a little bit more. I do the packaging technique, I wipe some of it off, I add a little bit more. So what I thought I would do, since I am going all out fall here, is I have these Avery, I think they're by Avery L. It's a stamp, and it has a couple of different leaves on it. And I keep losing things on my desk. Through this whole layout process, I keep losing things on my desk. So they're two different sizes. One's just a little bit smaller than the other, and they kind of lean opposite directions. So my idea was I would have these leaves kind of cascading down the page with Love Fall in front of it, and then my picture at the top like this. So I need some more color up there, and I need some more leaves up there. So you'll see me add those here in a little bit. Once I did all of it, then I covered it all up with the picture. So that happens a lot. So a lot of times when I'm creating layouts, I have to move the stuff over, look at it, move it off, put some more on my backgrounds, and then move it back over, see what it looks like, and so on and so forth. And so I do that a lot throughout this process here. So I still don't have quite all of my paint on there yet, but I will get it here in a few minutes. So I think I end up going in and adding some color to the actual leaves here. I'm going to take my paintbrush, and I'm just adding with the same paint, but now in some places I will be adding it over a layer of paint already, and in other places I won't. This just makes it look a little bit darker in the area that the leaf is. So I go through, and I don't believe I do all of these on camera, but you get the idea. I'm just going through really quickly. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it's okay if I go out of the lines. That's not bothering me at all, because this is supposed to be a little bit messy, and I've already got that color on there. It's already filling up some of the leaves. Then I'm going through and I'm adding some splatters. My main reason for adding these is because I wanted a little bit another layer, and so I'm adding some splatters, and then I'm going to go ahead and take my packaging again and add, smooshing around. That's the term, smoosh or smush. Yeah. So that just makes it look, I don't know, a little bit more organic maybe. And that is basically my background. Now I do add a few other little things as we go. At one point I realized I need some more of this paint, so I add some more. And I do add some pops of another color with just a few splatters of Vibez Jeni Be Blue. And I will link the name of these in the comments below the video too. But what I'm doing here is I'm just adding another layer, so it's a little bit darker on those leaves now that some of it has dried. Okay, so everything's dried, and there you can kind of see the shimmer. It's so pretty. And I cut the edges off so that I could use this black as a border. And then now I've kind of realized that this is, I think, where I'm going to put everything. And I want to add some other things to my layout. So first of all, I'm going to fill the heart with a color. I don't end up using this one. I'm using this, but, and I put it there and I like it, but then I noticed the stripes kind of bother me just a little bit with the wood grain of the words. Not a lot, but just a little bit. And then I noticed on my desk, you'll see it happen here in a second, I have just unboxed my new click kits, and in the click kit came this washi tape that is that same color. So I end up using that instead, and you'll see me do that in a minute. Okay, so I've added, I'm going to add that always. I think that is Maggie Holmes. I'm going to add that so it's kind of like love, fall, always. You wouldn't have to say it in that order, but that's the way I would say it. And put a little tissue paper behind my photo just to give it just a little grounding, and then I'll add a few other things here in a second. But I'm going to add that always, and it has that blue aqua color, and then that is going to be in the heart there as well. And then my flare button there says be present, and this is actually a custom flare that I had made a couple of years ago, and I don't know if you know this or not, but a Flair for Buttons will do custom flare for you. So here I'm just auditioning different flare that I want to go up in that upper left corner, and I still haven't gotten to the final one, but I thought the whole idea of being present, and with the idea of noticing that the colors and noticing the beauty of fall went with the theme of this layout. So I went there, that's when I went, whoa, wait a minute, I want to use this washi instead. So you'll see how I use the washi here in a second. I'll put that all aside and then just put the washi onto a piece of cardstock that's just out of my scrap bin, and then cut it out just like I did. It doesn't line up perfectly, and I don't care at all. It doesn't matter. Mostly I'm using it for the pop of color, and it doesn't have the lines of that other paper, which I do end up using that other paper later. So, but for something else. All right, so what was I saying? Oh, so I thought be present worked. So if you go to a Flair for Buttons store, you can request custom flair. So like in the past, some things that I've requested are initials in a specific color. So like it'll be my first initial or my daughter's first initial or whoever, and it will be in a favorite color or something. Another thing that I've done is one year I was I've done it for my one little word that I've done every year. So I've asked her to make flair that has my word on it. And present was my word one year. Be present was the idea of what I wanted to capture for the year. And so this is left over from that. So I've had it for a while because that was a few years ago, but I still like it, and it's the perfect pop of color, and it fits the theme really well. So I decided to continue with that washi. I just wanted a little bit more behind my photo, so just at the top and the bottom, just as a little layer there. I'm not adding a lot because I feel like there's already a lot going on. I do decide, however, that this is a little too plain. I really wanted a little bit more. So I went through I don't know, a bunch of different things. I went through my stuff that was sitting on my desk. I went through a couple of collections that I'm pulling from. I went through some Maggie Holmes and some Amy Tangerine and looked for things that would fit my needs. I know I want Love Fall here, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue that down. And then at the very last minute here, I'm going to decide, it's in a little bit here, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do, what the other thing is that I'm going to add. So here's where I add the Jeni Blue, just for an accent color a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and put some tangled thread underneath my flare down there in the bottom as well. All right, so I'm working on trying to decide what flare is going to go up in that upper left, and I know I want to put some more tangled thread under there, and I end up going with the Instagram camera that is the same color, so I end up going with that. Then I'm about to glue, I think this is where, oh no, this is where I realized I needed a little bit more color over there on the left side of my photo. So I'm just going to go back in and add. Now keep in mind I do have some things glued down already, so I'm just trying to be really careful and glue down, or not glue down, smush down a little bit more of that sunset strip. There we go. And then I get ready to glue everything, and I get a great idea. So I'm about to glue, and I've already applied glue, and I decide, oh, what about leaves? Like, I knew I had another cut file. Both of these cut files that I'm using here are from the Cut Shoppe, and I'll link the cut file name below. But what I went ahead and did is I found some paper. These are all, they're not all. Two of them are from, I think, Amy Tangerine, and then the yellow is from something else. I can't remember. It's older from my stash. And I went ahead and I just cut out these leaves on my Cameo with a black cardstock, and then there they all are done. And I just move them around a lot. Some on camera, some off camera. But I'm just trying to determine where I want these leaves to go. So in a second here, I'm going to shut off the camera, and then I'll come back and I will show you how I end up, what I end up doing here is I took my sewing machine and I zipped down the middle of each one of those just with some white thread. And now, so what I'm struggling with is I know that I want the leaves to kind of go down and not up, like what I'm doing right there. I don't really like them going up, because the whole idea of this is flowing from the top left to the bottom right. It is leaves falling down. And then off camera, I decide on this, and I see how over there on the left, I've had all those leaves that are coming down. Then I put a few underneath the word always and call it done. So what I'm doing here is just gluing everything down. And I think the last thing I do is add a few little splatters of sunset strip to finish it off. I think that's all I have left. So yeah, so this actually came together. Actual work time, you know, that I videoed and all of that was about a half an hour, which is pretty fast for me. When I work with cut files, it's usually pretty fast. But then also I kind of had an idea of using the sunset strip and sticking with that that main color, and then adding pops of the kind of aqua color. And so since I kind of had that in my thoughts, I pulled some of those things out, had them on my desk. That's part of the reason why I kept losing everything, and it made it come together really quickly. The thing I struggled with probably most was trying to figure out how to place the leaves. I don't know why that was so hard for me, but it was. All right, so I'm adding my final pops of color here, and then the close-ups are going to come up. One of the things I want you to notice when you see these close-ups is how much shimmer there is in that paint. So there's the final image, and then look at the shimmer. It's really hard to get on camera, but it looks so pretty and so shimmery. And there's my flare. So thanks a lot for stopping by, and I will see you in the next video.